Welcome to Wine Library TV. I am your host, Gary Vaynerchuk, and this, my friends, is The Thunder Show. And today's big thank you goes out to my parents for bringing me from Belarus to America, because if they didn't, I'd either be dead or in jail, man. That's my new little thing. We're going to do a big thank you at the beginning of every show, because I am obnoxiously thankful for the opportunity to do what I do every day, which is pump out great content, meet millions of people as I travel around the country, and hopefully start the conversation and bring a thought process into trying different wines and trusting yourself about vino. That, my friends, is what the Thunder Show is all about. And today we are expanding on that journey with value-driven Petite Sirah. I think Petite Sirah is really one of the more interesting wines in the world. It's comes from the Durif family, first kind of discovered in the 1870s. Very small grapes. You need to know this about Petite Sirah. Different than Syrah. They're very small grapes, hence petite. But what that does is makes a very big tannic and high acid wine. Because a lot of the skin content, the skin juice content in a Petite Sirah is very low, and so with a smaller grape you get much more intense tannins and acidity, making these wines extremely age-worthy. And I think that's something that a lot of people need to recognize, and really probably why so many people enjoy Petite Sirah, because it's got big kahunas, man. It brings the thunder, as I like to say, and so much so that I should probably put it right on the bottle. I mean, actually, there you go, Mott. Look at Mott being prepared. This is the sniffy sniff. This is the thunder. Very good work, Mott. You once again have come through. Bringing the thunder. These are like these wine cozies that people like so much. Anyway, so I'm excited about trying these three value-driven Petite Sirahs, 9, 14, and 14 bones each, respectively. Matt is in a hizzy. Oh, Matt brings an original out. And there's one more right there, Matt. I think right there is the 4. Get that right there, Matt? All right, so here's the original wristband. It's a wristband show. That is right there is Generation 2. So here's Gen 1. This is the old school. I mean, this is, who's got this out there? Leave a comment if you've got the original wristband. I want to know all the original Vaniacs with wristbands. There is the first Vaniac with you can see it tears right away. And here's Gen 2. So here it is, finally. Gen 2, for all the people that have been wondering, Gen 2 was the logo. Gen 1 was the one that was really, really ghetto. That fell apart. There's Gen 3, Mott. And here is Gen 4, the Sniffy Sniff. There's the full collection of wristbands in the Vayner Nation. And Gen 5 is in the works, and I'm excited about that. And there's a way that you're all going to be able to get that. It's kind of secret.
You should send a picture if they have all 4.
We should. You should send a picture, and we should give you, like, the 5th one, like a special edition if you've got all 4, if you've collected all 4. Also, if you've got all 4, that's pretty darn impressive. I like that. So, anyway, little sidetracked action. Let's get into the first wine. This is the Lot 205. Nice package, by the way. Petite Sirah, California, 2005 vintage, $9 US. California appellation, meaning it could probably come from any part of California. It's not necessarily Sonoma or Central Coast or Napa or Lodi, Temecula. It could really be any of those places. Heck, it could be Los Angeles County, where I just was the other day, tasting some interesting wine. New Thundercat on the table. I like that. A lot of people don't know that's a Thundercat, Matt. You weren't sure. Let's give this a sniffy sniff. Now, first and foremost, you'll see that this is very dark, purple-like color, very common characteristic of Petite Sirah. You also notice with Petite Sirahs a very big nose. A lot comes through on the nose quite a bit. These are great with like Polish sausage, Mod. I've noticed Petite Sirah has been my favorite pairing, so that's something if you're looking, really big, rich steaks and Polish sausage and, pigs in a blanket, by the way, I had the other day, which were delicious with sauerkraut at the Wynn racetrack. That was the sports book. Let's give this a sniffy sniff. Good fruit coming through. I get a lot of chocolate, melted milk chocolate coming through on this nose, which is a little bit different. I do get a lot of cherries and strawberries pounded through here as well. Collectively, quite a bit coming through on the nose. Big aromatics. Let's give it one more sniffy sniff. That's about it. So the milk chocolate is very uncommon and kind of interesting that it's coming through on this wine. So I like that a little bit. And 9 bones, a very nice nose. A little fakey fake, a little fruit bomby, but not too bad. Let's give it a whirl. You notice this comes in a screw top. Big fan of those. Good fruit, well polished. I get a cranberry component in the back end, which I like quite a bit. I also like the really interesting red fruit flavors that are coming through: pomegranate, cranberries, and strawberries. It's a red fruit-driven Petite Sirah with good structure and good balance. Very serviceable. To me, this is a restaurant wine, right? Olive Garden should be like, do you see how I said that? Olive Garden should be pouring this by the glass, or the commodity restaurants, Charlie Brown's, Chili's, TGI Fridays. You need to take notice of a wine like this at this price point. I think this is a very good by the glass pour. If any of you restaurateur sommeliers out there, this is a good indication of what Petite Sirah can do, and has a lot more balance and structure than your average Syrah base. I know I'm going different grade, but same general concept with a big fruit, big lively finish than a lot of the Australian Shirazes that I've had between 7 and 10 bones. A little bit better than even some of the Syrah blends that I've had throughout. Now, this is American Canyon Napa County, California. That's where it's bottled, so that's not necessarily where the fruit is from. Understand that. Ultimately, I think this is serviceable. I think this is like a solid, like a good old, just good, solid Pittsburgh, go to work, do your thing, come out, feed, play ball with the kids, like a good American, just like the people you looked up to, the greatest generation. That's what it kind of reminds me of, C-Mott. I think this is an 86-point wine, and I think at 9 bones, that's very, very adequate and very much serviceable and very exciting for my palate. I think I like that it's an 05. I think that helps it. I think in another year it could even tone down more. I think it's pretty darn cool. It's a very good start for value-driven Petite Sirahs. Let's move on. This is the 04 Fiano Petite Sirah from Russian River Valley, more known for its Pinot Noir and Chardonnays. There are some interesting little wines popping out from Russian River with Syrah and Petite Sirah. Fiano has traditionally been the brand that has always been known as the value brand. To me, I've always been a big fan of this wine through the years. This was probably one of the first Petite Sirahs I brought in, along with the David Bruce years ago when these things started kind of hitting the scene. I've been a fan and drinking and sharing this wine for many years. It was a lot more exciting when it was $8.99 as it was 5 to 7 years ago. But it rolls in at 14 bones now, which is Richard Todd's number, so that should not be overlooked, Mott. Mott, by the way, congratulations. I see the Giants looked amazing the other night. It was like third. I know you don't pay attention to preseason, but this was starters versus starters against the Browns. It was 30-3. So you guys were killing people out there, just sacking everybody in sight. Let's give this a sniffy sniff. Now, this is more perfume-like. This comes across as crushed candy, almost like, do you remember the necklace candy, Mom? Like, you used to wear them, right? You had the ring and the necklace candy. You were all candied, jewelried out. But you'd eat it, crush that down. It's kind of like Pez-type, Smartie-type candy. That crushed almost like becomes sugar-like. That's what I'm getting on this nose. It's also very perfume-like. So, I get like a crush, almost, I guess I'm going in that direction of a little bit artificial, right? Perfume-like, candy, sugar candy. So it is a little bit artificial to me, which concerns me quite a bit. There is a little bit of like a cinnamon component that's coming through on the nose. And that's about it. Let's give it a whirl. Good firm tannins. Kind of empty on the mid-palate. Let me give it one more shot. I get a blueberry component on this wine, which I like. There's also a little bit of a leather action going on. A little shoe, little baseball mitt. Little leather never hurt the kids. But it's off balance and awkward on the mid-palate. And the finish is kind of meh. The tannins are still in place. It's an 04, so it's a little more polished, a little bit easier to drink. It's not bad. It's not as lively as the Lot 205. It's also a little bit darker, which is fine. And I think some people will like that. Dark meats, just, some grimness to it. Like Grimace. Remember Grimace? What was Grimace? He was like a big purple pear. He was so happy, right? Anyway, this is like a mean Grimace. And ultimately, I just kind of find it to be kind of average at best. I think I've come across a lot of Petite Sirah, Syrah-type base wines, big wines, even like some Tanats that are a little bit more interesting than this wine. To me, this wine is very much okay. It's an 84-point wine for me on my palate. Remember, trust your own palate. You might love it. Who really cares what I say? But it's great to explore. And if you're not drinking Petite Sirah, you want to go out and try different things. 84 points. I'm going to give it a pass. I think the Lot 205 for people that have not experienced Petite Sirah or looking for easy drinking pizza night, hamburger, cheeseburger. It's a great wine with cheeseburgers. I mean, it's still summertime. We're getting into Labor Day. If you want some great, like, cheeseburgers, lettuce, tomato, throw a little bacon on there. Lot 205 at 9 bones probably costs you less than the burger will cost you these days with prices out there. Have you seen it, Mott? And so, anyway, passing the Fiano. Let's move on. Finally, Rosenblum again. We did a little with Rosenblum in Cleveland, the Chateau de Paz. Some people called their winery. I thought that was a little fun. I hope they enjoyed the exposure. It was pretty cool. Rosenblum, 2006 Heritage Clone Petite Sirah. This wine rolls in at 14 bones as well. This has traditionally been a pretty hot bottle of wine. We've done very, very well with the Heritage Clones Petite Sirah in the past. You know, I've never had one. And because usually it gets rated real high. Everybody wants it. So I kind of just don't even think about it. So I'm excited about trying this. Let's see what's going on here. A little snippy snip. Beautiful nose. Wow. Very creamy. Very interesting. Good bright cranberry meets, meets a little bit of a pomegranate. Looking for that again. So cranberry and pomegranate-y kind of coming through on the nose. There's a creaminess to this. There's kind of like a creme fraiche. Kind of like beautiful fresh fruit, like blackberries, cranberries, even pomegranate, the little seeds, and then like a creme fraiche, like a nice whipped cream on top. That's what this kind of smells like. It's very beautiful. I also get a little bit like fall leaves. You know, we're getting close, Mott. We're going to soon see that kind of weather. I'm pretty excited about it. What? You're worried about it? Raking. You don't like the rake?
It's a pain in the ass.
You hate it. Anyway, let's give this a whirl. This is good. Very focused. Ooh, hold on. Now I'm starting to see a little bit of what the hoopla is about. This is Candy City, but focused. It actually has an enormous amount of coffee mocha type flavors. So, if you're a Starbucks fan, this is your style. Now, there's also a little bit of like an orange thing going on in here. Almost like Grand Marnier. So almost like getting, a nice coffee mocha latte and then taking a shot of Grand Marnier and sticking it in there and then taking some really fresh blackberries and squeezing it in there. Very focused, right down the pipe, right down Broadway does the flavor come, and I like it. The intensity is great. The richness is exceptional. There's a great polish around the entire wine. It's like you're polishing your car. I like that. This wine is extremely good. I get a little shoe polish kind of thing going on, believe it or not. Maybe that's where that came from. Little dark kind of interesting kind of aspect on the finish. Still a nice long finish, 30 to 60 seconds, well made. A great example. I think a better version of the 2005 Lot 205 with its girth and its excitement, with its overall structure. This reminds me of some really well-made wines from the Rhone Valley with a little bit of that California love. California dreaming. A little bit of fruit and sunshine brings up the ripeness and the sugar levels. This is just delicious city. I'm going to score this wine 90 plus points and highly recommend people go seek out the 2006 Rosenblum Petite Sirah Heritage Clone. 14 bones in this world right now is a very well-priced wine of this kind of stature and structure. For all those people that really love Molly Duker and all those fruit bombs, I highly recommend you seek this out. I think it's more toned down, more polished, more correct. I think they followed the blueprint a little bit, and I kind of like it. I think it brings a lot of that intensity and flavor that you're seduced by in this package. You like that rant, Mana? I saw the lip of approval. That's a good wine. A couple shout-outs before I get out of here. Belated happy birthday to John Finley and John Spillman. Happy first anniversary to Zach and Angela. And thoughts are with Brent Stifler, a good friend of WineLibraryTV, and go through a little bit of a tough time. We're rooting for you, Brent. Finally, really excited about this new thank you of the day. So look for those. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to allow me to thank all the wonderful people out there. I'll definitely be thanking specific fans out there. Mott, you'll probably get a thank you one day. I'll probably thank Brett Favre for a good performance. Anything can really happen with the thank you in the beginning of the show. Question of the day. Drinking anything good question mark. Just wondering, what are you drinking? Very big thing in the wine forums, Mott, and all the different forums out there. What are you drinking? What are you drinking these days? This would be a tremendous time to answer the question. You, with a little bit of me, we're changing the wine world.